Welcome to TV, Tennessee Valley Church. This week, we're here at the Adams Farm near Elora, Tennessee, where they have all kinds of animals, including these miniature donkeys. Today, we're talking about changed or transformed lives. The phrase, changed lives, seems to be in style now. I Googled, "we change lives," to see how many people are using that phrase, and I found a bunch. Everybody from an auto financing company to a dentist office to a kitchen supply company to a nutrition company to a greeting card company, all claim to be in the life-changing business. But what exactly is genuine change, genuinely, spiritually transformed lives? Real transformation is more than people becoming a little happier and a little nicer and a little more fit. Genuine spiritual transformation is not measured by one's church smiles or by one's church clothes. It is not measured merely by one's worship attendance or participation in church programs. Genuine spiritual transformation is far more than that. Genuine spiritual transformation is eternal. When I say transformed lives, I mean, first of all, passing from death to life and receiving a new eternal destiny through life-transforming faith in Jesus. Genuine spiritual transformation is radical. I'm talking about people finding freedom from addictions. I'm talking about people finding hope again. When I say transformed lives, I'm talking about people getting their families back. I'm talking about people getting their futures back. Genuine transformation is genuinely radical. Transformation is cardiological. Transformed people get new hearts, meaning transformation is a fundamental change in who we are, not just in what we do or how we're perceived. Transformation is cerebral. Romans 12:2 says, "Be transformed by the renewing of your mind." Transformed people think differently about their identities, about their priorities, about their moralities, and about their possibilities, and about their eternities. Transformation is undeniable but never total. Genuine spiritual transformation is observable and undeniable to those who are closest to the one being transformed. But we can never say we are completely transformed. We're always on a journey. Transformation is durable but never final. Real transformation lasts. It's sustained over time. Transformation is never complete, however. Those who are truly being transformed are being transformed until our last breaths. Genuine spiritual transformation is eternal, radical, cardiological, cerebral, undeniable but never total, durable but never final. So how does someone get transformed? It begins with a conversion, an experience so dramatic, so radical that Jesus called it a new birth. When we experience that new beginning by faith in Jesus, God gives us new desires, new strengths, a new heart to make for a new life. For some, that's a process. For others, it's an event. But for all, it's a real live conversion. And it begins with a decision to believe in and to surrender to and to follow Jesus. Then what? It doesn't stop there. Transformation doesn't end at conversion. It's only beginning. So what keeps it going? It's the practice of what we call spiritual disciplines. Transformation is not something we can do for ourselves. That is the work of God's Spirit in us. But we have some responsibility for our transformation. We have to make ourselves open for transformation through the practice of what are called spiritual disciplines like prayer, even fasting, solitude, Bible study, sharing our lives with people who are believers, and worship alongside each other. God expects us to play an active part in our transformation. Again, change comes from God's Spirit at work in us, but not without our active participation. Transformation requires some work on our part. The practice of spiritual disciplines. Again, worshiping regularly with other believers, reading our Bibles, talking to God or praying, serving people, spending time alone and in reflection. Spiritual disciplines. Spiritual transformation means discovering, uncovering, and living up to the image of God in you. In today's text, we remember that the Bible depicts spiritual transformation as discovering and uncovering the image of God in you and me. 2 Corinthians 3:18 reads, "We are being transformed into God's image." And in today's Bible passage, later you will hear about putting on the new self and being renewed in the image of our Creator. A big part of spiritual transformation then is discovering and uncovering the image of God in you and me that's already there. Genesis 1:27 reads, "So God created humankind in His own image. In the image of God He created them, male and female He created them." Don't forget that. We have the imprint of the Creator on us. You are created in the image of God. That image might be hard to recognize sometimes, but if I could look deep into your eyes, I would see the image of something beyond us. I would see in you the image of God Himself. You and I, are created in the image of God. That means we bear hints of His nature, His desires, His character. But that image has been distorted and covered up by our own, sinfulness. One way the Bible describes transformation, spiritual transformation, is of getting that original image of God back. The image of God is still there. It's just underneath layers of bad decisions. Sforza Castle is in Milan, northern Italy. Workers were restoring the castle when they made a fascinating discovery. They discovered a mural by none other than Leonardo da Vinci that no one had seen for a few hundred years. A mural by da Vinci was hidden underneath almost 20 layers of whitewash. Underneath that very common paint was a da Vinci painting of trees from the walls to the ceiling, where they formed an archway or pergola. Now, experts are working meticulously to restore the image painted by the master. It's been there all along. It was just covered up by human error. You see, the image of God is there in us all. It's just been distorted, minimized, covered up by layers upon layers of bad decisions. You and I bear hints of God's nature, His desires, His character. Genuine spiritual transformation is about discovering and uncovering the image of God in you and me. More about that in a few minutes.
I'm caught up in your presence. I just wanna sit here at your feet. I'm caught up in this holy moment, and I never wanna leave. I'm not here for blessings. Jesus, you don't owe me anything more than anything that you can do. I just want you. And I'm sorry when I've just gone through the motions. I'm sorry when I just sang another song. Take me back to where we started. I open up my heart to you. And I'm sorry when I've come with my agenda. I'm sorry when I forgot that you're enough. Take me back to where we started. I open up my heart to you. 'Cause I'm caught up in your presence. I just wanna sit here I never wanna leave. Oh, I'm not here for blessings. Jesus, you don't owe me anything more than anything that you can do. I just want you. I just want you. Nothing else. Nothing else. Nothing else will do. I just want you. Nothing else. No, nothing else. Nothing else will do. I just want you. Nothing else. No, nothing else. No, no, no. Nothing else will do. I just want you. Nothing else. No, nothing else. Nothing else will do. I just want you. Nothing else. Nothing else. Nothing else will do. I just want you. Nothing else. No, nothing else. Nothing else will do. We don't need anything else. We don't want anything else but you. Only you. Only you. Only you. Only you. Only you. I'm caught up in your presence. And I just wanna sit here at your feet. I'm caught up in this holy moment, and I never wanna leave. Oh, I'm not here for blessings. Jesus, you don't owe me anything, and more than anything that you can do, I just want you.
A lot of people make the decision to follow Jesus early on in their life, but that doesn't always happen. Sometimes Jesus knocks on the door a little bit later in life. And Joe Kraft, that happened to you. Now, I wanted to introduce you to Joe Kraft. You're doing the construction, you're heading the construction here at First Baptist Church, doing wonderful things for the Children's Center. So thank you for your help with that.
You're welcome. It's a privilege.
And tell me your story.
Well, I grew up in not a Christ-centered family, had a strong family ties, and came to know Christ a little later in life. I was actually 50 years old. I look back now and see that Jesus was walking beside me in a lot of ways in the past, but I came to work with JohnsonKreis in 2000, so I've been working here 20 years, and Jess Johnson and Bill Kreis were huge influences in my life. They're both Christian men. They were man's men, if you will, but they were also kingdom men, and they had a big influence on me. But I thought I was doing everything right in life. I worked hard, treated people the way I wanted to be treated, and was honest, and thought I had it all together. But around the age 50, my youngest son got involved with drugs, and I finally bumped into something that I couldn't handle through hard work and all the things that usually did. We tried medically, and that didn't work, so I confided in Jess Johnson, and he got me involved with a church in Louisiana. It had an outreach program, and sent my son there where everything else had failed. That worked in a short amount of time. And so at that point, I knew that it was only God that could have done it. And so Mr. Jess told me one day that when Trey comes home, he's going to have a different vocabulary. And I said, oh, well, I got this too, you know. And it turned out he was talking about he would know Christ and I didn't. In his graceful way of telling me that, it finally sunk in. And so I started going to church. I figured out that I would try to know what he knew and what totally healed him. I could tell, and had been able to visit him one time, but I knew he had changed. And so on my third trip to church, the Lord knocked on my heart, and I answered an altar call. And at that point, my life changed forever. Everything about my life changed. And it is the most wonderful thing that's happened to me ever.
And Joe, what would you tell somebody who's maybe kind of sitting on the fence and thinking like, well, it's too late for me to change? What would you tell?
I would say it's never too late. Take your quiet time and speak to the Lord. Pray. If you know Christians, surround yourself with Christians, because they can help you and you can see the change in their life. What means something to them is not necessarily the worldly way with the material things, and that's kind of where a lot of us focus, and there's chaos in the world, but the Lord has a peace about him, and so don't worry about that part. The Lord will change your values, change your ways, how you think. I would make the move today, and he will give you ways to make up for lost time. So don't worry about the time being 50. Like for me, he's given me ways to make that up. I know I'm forgiven for things I've done wrong. Don't try to clean yourself up to come to the Lord, because he knows you better than you know you. And so just do it. It's never too late. It's never too late.
Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Put to death, therefore, whatever belongs to your earthly nature: sexual immorality, impurity, lust, evil desires, and greed, which is idolatry. Because of these, the wrath of God is coming. You used to walk in these ways in the life you once lived. But now you must rid yourselves of all such things as these: anger, rage, malice, slander, and filthy language from your lips. Do not lie to each other, since you have taken off your old self with its practices and have put on the new self, which is being renewed in knowledge in the image of its Creator.
Today, we're talking about genuine, bona fide life change, spiritual transformation. And in the passage from the Bible we're considering today, that transformation means discovering and uncovering the image of God in us. We looked at a mural painted by no less an artist than Leonardo da Vinci, hidden under layers of very common whitewash. Let's consider another piece of art. Using the same kind of technology TSA uses to scan you at the airport, scientists discovered an ancient Roman fresco underneath a 19th century painting by Gianpietro Campagna. Campagna's painting is great art, at least I guess it's great art. I'd never heard of Campagna or this painting, but it's hanging in the Louvre in Paris, so it's got to be good, right? Yet, as wonderful as that piece of art is, think about it. An ancient Roman fresco, thousands of years older, is underneath it. How valuable would that be? Likewise, the image of God is there in us all. Spiritual transformation is about discovering and uncovering that image in us. Of course, there are lots of wonderful people with beautiful lives who are not followers of Jesus. But in a relationship with Jesus, there's simply such great unreached potential for people to live life to its fullest and to be all they were created to be. There's a wonderful story told by the late Fred Craddock, a legend among some of us ministers. Craddock and his wife were having breakfast in a diner in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. An impressive, stately, elderly man was going table to table, greeting the guests. He made his way to the table where Fred Craddock and Mrs. Craddock were seated. And when he found out Craddock was a preacher, the man said, "Well, I've got a good story for you." He pulled up a chair uninvited and began to tell it. "You see that mountain over there?" the friendly stranger asked, pointing out the restaurant window. Not far from the base of that mountain, there was a boy born to an unwed mother. He had a hard time growing up because everywhere he went, folks stared. At school, on the street, in the stores, people stared. Craddock realized the stranger was talking about himself. The stranger said, "When I went into town with my mother, I could see people staring at me, making guesses as to who my father was. At school, the children said ugly things to me, and so I stayed to myself during recess, and I ate alone. Then a new preacher came to his church," the man said. One morning, the boy was hurrying to get out of the service, but he got caught in the line headed for the door. Before he could squeeze through the crowd, he felt a hand on his shoulder. It was the new minister. The pastor looked the kid over for a few awkward moments. "I knew what he was doing," the stranger said. "He was trying to guess who my father was." Sure enough, a moment later the minister said, "Well, boy, you're a child of..." And the minister paused there. The kid knew what was coming. He knew his family tree was about to be laid bare and he'd never go back to that church again. But the pastor continued, "You're a child of God. I see a striking resemblance." The pastor swatted the boy on the back and said, "Now you go claim your inheritance." "I left the building a different person," the friendly stranger said. "In fact, that was really the beginning of my life." Later, Fred Craddock asked the waitress when she came by, "Who was that man?" "Everybody here knows him," she said. "That's Ben Hooper. He's the former governor of Tennessee." More than likely, you will live either up to or down to how you see yourself, how you label yourself, how you identify yourself. And that's why what I'm about to say is so important. You are not defined by your regrets. You are not pigeonholed by your past. You are not typecast by your transgressions. I see the family resemblance. You are a child of God. You bear His image. That is your identity. Now live like it. That is genuine transformation.
Take my life and let it be consecrated, Lord, to Thee. Take my moments and my days, let them flow in ceaseless praise. Let them flow in ceaseless praise. Take my silver and my gold, not of mine would I withhold. Take my intellect and use every power as Thou shalt choose. Every power as Thou shalt choose. Take my will and make it thine. It shall be no longer mine. Take my heart, it is thine own. It shall be thy royal throne. It shall be thy royal throne.
Thank you for joining us for TV Church today. If you're new, I'm John Lemons, the minister to young adults. That would be those in their 20s and their 30s.
And I'm Kristen Prasad, minister to kids and families here at First Baptist Huntsville. At FBC, we love to be church at the heart of the city with a heart for the region. And we're glad that, whatever part of our region you're watching from, you've joined us today. We pray that this half hour has been a blessing to you and want you to know that there are opportunities for you to engage beyond TV Church.
The best way to learn about those is at our new website, tvchurch.online. There you can hit the Contact Us button on the left-hand side to start that process. You can also connect with our online community, submit prayer requests, watch more episodes, and find other helpful resources.
Today, we heard about how God can transform us and make us new. If you found today's message helpful, we'd love for you to share this episode with someone who needs to hear it through a text, an email, or your own social media channels. And let us know if you'd like to talk about this more. With all that said, please join us in this closing prayer based on Romans 12, 1-2. God, with your mercy in view, help us to present ourselves as living sacrifices, holy and pleasing to you, which is one of the ways we worship you. Help us not be conformed to the pattern of this world, but to be transformed by the renewing of our minds, so that we may prove that your will is good and acceptable and perfect. Amen.